This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, so you can see my screen, I believe. So let's start. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on divorce in intercultural couples. My name is Rabea, and I've been volunteering for Mothers in Business for 1.5 years now, I think, and I've been organizing this series together with Familia on intercultural couples, multilingual education. And I'm happy to introduce you today to the last webinar of this series. On this slide, you can see our contacts. You can get in touch with us on Facebook and on our website. You can find a lot of information nowadays also in English. That's one of the things we have been doing during the past 1.5 years to translate a lot of the Mothers in Business content into English. You can follow us on Instagram. And of course, if you have any questions, you can best reach us via email. Mothers in, wait a second, I'm gonna mute you quickly. Yes, we don't have any background noise. So who are we? Mothers in Business in general is a nationwide network, a Finnish network of mothers who aim to develop mothers' skills and to promote work and family life balance. And we have noticed that this is also and especially a topic for international moms here in Finland, since for us it is, of course, an even more interesting topic in a way that we often don't have a network as much as maybe Finnish moms have, because they have their families around. So we started this project in the beginning of 2020, when then unfortunately the pandemic hit and the project was a little bit delayed. But we started with events and with, as I said, translating all the content, or starting to translate the content in August 2020. And since then, we have actually reached quite a lot of people and made cooperations, such as with Familia. And I can proudly present today what we have accomplished so far. So we aim to develop more content and more activities for international mothers in English. And I say mothers because it's called Mothers in Business, but of course, this is not only for mothers, but also for fathers who are interested, for family members who are taking care of kids and have to balance work and family life. We offer a network, low threshold peer support. We have groups where we just meet and mingle and talk about certain topics. We want to help mothers to develop their skills, advance their career paths, especially being an international in Finland. This is not always so easy, and help to combine work and family life. And one of our main goals is to also influence towards a more inclusive and family-friendly international Finland. And in order to do so, we also have webinar series now on diversity, equality and inclusion. So if you're interested in that kind of events, also look out for that. Our upcoming events this month, unfortunately, we had to cancel the live mingle on the 17th of February, since the corona situation is still not so great. So that is canceled, but we have a lot of webinars going on. A series about motherhood and entrepreneurship, where we have the webinar on the 14th, on the 18th about mompreneurs, finding your strength, and also on the 26th, mom, student, employee, can I do it all and how? We have a volunteer onboarding session on the 24th. If anyone is interested, or when you're interested in volunteering in Mothers in Business, then this would be interesting for you, and also something for the well-being on the 23rd, a mindfulness for moms webinar. The most important, our events so far are open to all. You don't have to be a member, but of course you're very welcome to become a member. They are free of charge and are held in English, and you can participate along with your kids. No one is bothered when there's kids noise in the background. You can of course keep the microphone muted so it doesn't bother anyone when there's background noise. And I'm very happy to present today Hanna Kinnunen. She will tell us more about her presentation and what she's going to talk about today. Hi, Hanna.
Hello. Okay, I'm just going to start sharing my screen also to get that out of the way. Wait a second, is it already there? Yes, I think you can see now the...
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Good. Okay, hello everyone. And good evening, although it sounds very official, but my name is Hanna Kinnunen and I've been working at Familia for, I think it's going to be 15 years this year, so for quite a long time. I started at Familia, I worked as the project manager for the DUO project that developed activities for intercultural and international couples and families in Finland. And then we got permanent funding for those activities. And since that, I've been working as an officer at Familia and specialized in intercultural couples and families. I studied intercultural counselling and cultural diversity at the University of Joensuu or University of Eastern Finland. And I wrote my thesis about the expatriates partners or foreign partners of Finnish people, and studied the social support that the Finnish partner had provided them and the kind of the immigration stress. And I also work as a relationship counselor. So sometimes the topics of divorce or problems in a relationship have come to my attention, or I have experience from that kind of perspective as well. But today I'm here to talk to you about divorce in intercultural marriages. I'm gonna present some statistics and a little bit the facts, and then reflecting on the reasons why intercultural marriages are little bit more likely to end up in a divorce than Finnish marriages, for example. And then I end with tips and practical advice, like where you can get help and support if you are in a situation where you're contemplating divorce or you are indeed getting a divorce. After the presentation, then you have time to ask questions or perhaps exchange experiences, but I have to kind of give a heads up that I'm not a divorce specialist. So when it comes to the kind of practicalities and that is not my area of expertise, even though I do know about those things. But Familia is already, we've been working, Familia has been, I should probably, 1988, I think it was funded. So it's been around for quite a long time. And at the moment it is the leading expert and advocate of intercultural families in Finland. And most of our activities are aimed at intercultural couples and families and intercultural youth and children. And we provide different kinds of like peer support groups and discussion groups, webinars, dual family training for couples expecting a baby, information and advice, but more information about us on our website. Well, then a little bit about the terminology and what do we mean by an intercultural couple? Who are intercultural? When we talk about intercultural couples, we mean couples where the partners were born in different countries. So that doesn't really say anything about the cultures, whether they're different or the same. Just a simple fact that the couple, that the partners are born in different countries, and wherever the couple lives, at least one of the partners lives outside of his or her home country. Sometimes, of course, a couple lives outside a country or in a third country, so then they are both immigrants in that country. And in Finland, like it says in there, at the end of 2020, I think the newest statistics are going to come out in May. But at the end of 2020, there were 82,000, more than 82,000 intercultural couples living in Finland. These were couples where one of the partners was is a Finnish born, and other is a foreign born, and both married and cohabiting couples as well as registered partnerships are in this number. In addition, there are more than 10,000 couples where both partners were born outside Finland, but in different countries from themselves. So roughly speaking, nearly 100,000 intercultural couples living in Finland. When I started working at Familia and when I started working for the DUO project, there were 56,000 intercultural couples living in Finland. So the number has really increased quite a lot during the past 10, 15, 20 years. But this is not just a Finnish phenomenon. This is also like worldwide. Basically, we have more opportunities to travel and to work and to study abroad, which means that sometimes then we also get to know people from other countries that we like, that we fall in love with and build a relationship with. Where do the partners of Finnish-born men come from? Most of them come from Russia and the former Soviet Union, then Sweden, Thailand, Estonia, China, Philippines, and Germany. And the number of partners from the Asian countries that has increased more than from the other countries during the past 20 years. The partners of Finnish-born women come, the majority, overwhelming majority, are from Sweden, but then there's more kind of steady, Finnish women, for example, have many more countries where they are more than 100 partners from. But there's Great Britain, Russia, and the former Soviet Union, Germany, Estonia, United States of America, Turkey, and Iraq. So for Finnish women, we as I am a Finnish woman, so we don't have as like obvious, or not obvious countries, but it's more steady around the world where the partners of Finnish women come from. Then when we look at the marriages and divorces, and now I remind you that in the previous statistics, we talked about both married and cohabiting partners and registered partnerships. We don't have statistics when it comes to how many cohabiting partners break up, but we have statistics about marriages and divorces. So here we move on talking about marriages and divorces. So in 2020, there were all in all couples getting married in Finland. There were 22,000 marriages, new marriages in Finland. And then there were 13,478 divorces, out of which just under 2,000 were intercultural divorces. So 14.7% of all divorces were between couples where partners were born in different countries. The number of divorces, it has remained very steady for a long time. And when you compare the number and the probability of how often a couple divorces in Finland, for example, to other European countries, then in Finland divorces are considerably more common than in many other European countries, but it has remained the same. The annual divorce rate of all married couples is 1.3%, and this has remained steady for more than 20 years. So, but maybe you have heard about that some people say that half of all marriages end up in a divorce. And when you look at actually the numbers of marriages and divorces, that might seem that is the case, but it's actually only 25%. So every fourth of first marriages, when we look at first marriages, only fourth of them, so 25% ends up in a divorce. So it's not half. So I think that's it's a nice thought. It's not half. It's only 25% of first. It's still a lot, but it's not half. When it comes then to the annual divorce rate of intercultural couples, that's about 5.5%. For marriages between Finnish-born men and foreign-born women is 3%, and Finnish-born women and foreign-born men is 4.9%. So the annual divorce rate of Finnish-born women and foreign-born men is higher than, for example, the Finnish-born men and foreign women. I'm actually thinking there has to be some kind of a mistake, because it can't be the annual divorce rate 4.5 and when it's okay. There's a mistake in the statistics. I apologize for that. There's some kind of calculation problem, because it has to be under 5 point. Maybe there are 2 different years, but there's obviously a mistake in them. I just noticed that now. But yes. And during the last 10 years, for example, the annual divorce rate, which what it means is that how it's counted is that, for example, you look at the number of how many people are married, for example, at the end of 2019, and then you look at how many of them have ended up getting a divorce during the following year, so in 2020, and then that's the kind of the annual divorce rate. That's what it refers to. Just kind of showing a little bit of these. So I'm sorry, these are from the website of the Tilastokeskus, so the statistics of Finland. So these are in Finnish. But here you can see that these are the divorces of men, Finnish-born men, and then looking at where the wives of them have come from. So you can see almost in here that the Finnish-born men, the women that they end up getting a divorce from are the women that they are most married to. So the Finnish-born men are a lot of their partners come from Russia and the former Soviet Union, and then also the I don't know if you can see actually my mouse cursor in there, but the former Russia. The reason why here is unknown, so tuntematon, and why it's such a like high number is that when the partner moves away from Finland very soon after the divorce, for some reason in the statistics, the background country of that person is then unknown. I don't know why this is, but this explains why we have such a high number of unknown. Well, I suppose we do know where they come from, but it's just that in statistics you can't see that. And then here are the divorces of Finnish-born women and where have their partners come from. So the overwhelming majority is tuntematon, unknown, which kind of tells me this is something I don't know, but it seems obvious that it's more common that the foreign-born partner, the man, moves away from Finland after the divorce, whereas the foreign-born women, wives of Finnish-born men, they actually end up staying in Finland, that is more often the case. Otherwise, I don't know why this would be such a high number. But then for Finnish-born women, or the Finnish woman with a Finnish background, the partners that they have a divorce from are not necessarily from the countries that most partners come from. There's Iraq, Turkey, Morocco, Russia and former Soviet Union, Gambia, UK, USA, Tunisia, and Egypt. So a little bit different countries. And then here's just another graphic about that here. When you look at the kind of the continents, so these are the intercultural divorces of Finnish-born men. There were 921 international divorces for Finnish-born men in 2020. So here are other EU countries. Then here is EU countries, the second. Then there's Africa, America, Asia, Oceania, and then unknown. And then for Finnish-born women, there were 1,065 international divorces. And here are other EU countries. These are EU countries, so mostly from men from other EU countries, European Union countries, then other Europe, then Africa, America, Asia, Oceania, and then the unknown. So why do intercultural couples end up having a divorce more often than Finnish couples? I think it's good to be reminded of the fact that research shows that the marriages and relationships of intercultural couples, they are as happy as the marriages of Finnish couples. And when an intercultural couple ends up getting a divorce, many of the reasons are similar or the same than for Finnish couple. So it's not, at least the couples themselves, they don't really phrase it that it's because of cultural differences, for example, that they ended up having a divorce, but they were kind of other factors. Also, working as a relationship counselor, when couples come into counseling, very rarely they do talk about cultural differences. But they talk about similar things than Finnish couples. So that then maybe young children, and there's very little time for the relationship. There's this kind of emotional connection. It starts to deteriorate. You don't spend that much quality time with your partner. There's more conflicts and arguments and so on. So very similar things. And there is rarely one single reason for divorce in any case, but it's often a combination of, for example, the overall burden of life, so elämän kokonaisvaltainen kuormittavuus, so that there are many stress factors happening at the same time. You've heard about ruuhkavuodet, so the kind of the busy years, and there's not much time. We are spread thin. There's a lot of stressful life events going on, and it's often a accumulation of problems, and then it ends up deteriorating of the emotional connection. But what can then add, if we look at the overall burden of life for intercultural couples, what may add to that is, of course, for example, the immigration and integration related stress. So, for example, for my thesis, the 10 expatriate partners I interviewed, they all said that when they moved to Finland, the things that they found most stressful were, for example, that learning Finnish language, they felt that you can't fully integrate in here if you don't speak Finnish. Then they also all mentioned the loss of independence initially. So during the first few weeks, months, maybe a couple of years in Finland, you lose the kind of the independence. You don't know how things work, and You have to kind of curve your own path in Finland and find your place. But they also talked about the loss of the social network. So immigration and integration related stress is quite high, and it affects the lives of intercultural couples, especially during the early days, weeks, months, and years in Finland. Also the role changes and imbalance of power. So initially, often the foreign-born partner relies on the Finnish partner in good and bad. And it can affect both partners. And if somehow for example, the expatriate partner is not happy in Finland, or it's difficult for them to find a job that matches their educational background or their work background, they may be unhappy. And often the Finnish partners, for example, they say that they feel guilty about the fact that we are now living in Finland and my partner is unhappy because of this. The language problems, again, is not necessarily between the couple, but like I said, a lot of all of the people I interviewed said that it's difficult to really feel integrated, to really feel that you fit in if you don't speak Finnish or Swedish in some cases. So unemployment, not having anything meaningful to do, that is more common for intercultural couples, especially in the beginning. Worrying about money and finances, the weakness of support networks, especially in the beginning, and then of course the effects of the global pandemic, not being able to travel back to your home country to visit family and friends, them not being able to come in here. The livelihoods of many people have been affected because certain industries have been very hard hit because of the restrictions and so on. So there are these kind of special characteristics for intercultural couples that can add to the overall burden of life for intercultural couples. And then again, when there is too much going on, we are spread thin, and then that can affect the quality of the relationship. And often it is not though how much issues or problems we have, but it is how we deal with those problems. And not all couples are, it's harder for them to kind of remain for like a team where they support each other, but it starts to drive a wedge in between them. And of course, parenthood, it challenges all relationships. But if you have that kind of the immigration, integration issues, the parenthood, and all of this combined, then you can kind of imagine that for intercultural couples, it can be quite taxing sometimes, just, life in general. So here I collected factors that influence how one copes with a divorce. So time lived in Finland, it helps if you have lived here for some time or quite a long time, because then you know how things work, you have perhaps learned the language. The level of integration, it's easier for people who have integrated into Finland, so that's not like something that you have to deal with at the same time when dealing with a divorce. The existence of social support networks, that you have employment or place to study so that you have financial security. And often it helps that you have a desire to stay in Finland, especially if you are a parent, because this is something that takes some people by surprise, that the only reason why they are in Finland is their Finnish partner. Now they have a child with that Finnish partner. They end up getting a divorce or breaking up, and now they are faced with the fact that they wouldn't be in Finland had it not been for the partner, and now that relationship has ended. What now? So it can be a kind of, you have to shift and you have to kind of reconcile with things, because then a lot of people say that, okay, for my child or for our children, I have to kind of find a way to live in here, unless, of course, the partner is willing to relocate to another country, or is willing for that partner to really relocate to another country with the child or the children. So then this attitude helps, of course, for the couple. So it often is kind of, in a way, twisted that if you've had a good relationship with your partner in a way that you have been able to talk with your partner and to discuss things and to disagree and to do it in a constructive manner, then it's often something that carries on to divorce also. That then it's easier to remain with that attitude that you don't want to kind of hurt your partner, you don't want to punish him or her, that you are able to talk about things even though it is tough. So the ability to communicate with ex-partner, of course, is easier if it's a joint decision. Language skills, again, it helps when you have to deal with the officials and so on. And then peer support. Then a quote, I'm going to read it out loud. So once you are a foreigner and you are getting out of your own home and away from your spouse for whom you probably came here, it's very tough. You see yourself alone. It's not so easy to find all this information all of a sudden. Sometimes you just have a month and that's it. And this is a quote from ex-husband of an intercultural marriage. So what happens in a divorce? So divorces in Finland are filed directly at the district court, which is käräjäoikeus. And a divorce needs to be filed using the application form provided by the court. When you fill in the form, you can hand it to the court either in person, by post, or through an authorized third person. Either one of the partners can file a divorce separately, and also you don't need to have like a joint decision. It can be just one person who files for the divorce. And if it's only one of the partners that files for the divorce, the court then informs the other partner, usually through a bailiff or by post. And at the same time, she or he can then issue a written response, but it won't kind of stop the proceedings. And like it says in there, you don't have to tell the court about the reasons for a divorce. And then you have this 6-month long consideration period, which though you don't have to go through, that you can skip it if you and your partner have lived apart for 2 years before filing for the divorce. And in this case, you can file for the divorce immediately, and you don't have to have the reconsideration period. But in order to do that, you have to be able to prove that you have lived separately, for example, by presenting an excerpt from the population information system, so the Väestörekisterikeskus. Then if you have children, then of course parenting always continues after a separation or divorce, and the parents need to agree on custody, and this can be done without going to court. You can do it with your partner, but it's still good to sign a written agreement, the childcare agreement, in which they write out and agree on the arrangements that relate to how to take care of the child, and visitation rights and so on. And if this agreement can't be reached by the parents, then you can, for example, contact a mediator, perheasiainsovittelija, and try to find an agreement through a mediator. So perheneuvola, I'm not exactly sure what perheneuvola is in English, but you can always contact perheneuvola. But then, of course, custody disputes may also be mediated at a court, so that's tuomioistuinsovittelu, if one or both partners request that. So child custody. huolta. So a very common custody arrangement is joint custody, so yhteishuoltajuus, where both parents have a right to access information about the child and make decisions concerning, for example, healthcare and school. And then in case of yksinhuolto, so sole custody, even in those cases, the sole custodian needs to ensure that the child and the other parent have the chance to maintain a strong relationship. And even in a sole custody arrangement, the other partner usually has visitation rights. Then another quote, I was concerned about being able to keep an equal parenting role for my child. I sought some private legal advice to calm my fears. And in the end, it was all dealt with very fairly by the Finnish process. So a good experience from this person. Then there is the question of property distribution and ositus, which you can already start during the 6-month consideration period. Again, if you can't reach an agreement, then you have the possibility to ask court administration. So pesänjakaja can then come into play, and they can distribute your assets for you. And at the beginning of the division process, on account of on the property and debts of each spouse must be given. And if you disagree with your partner's distribution, you can always appeal to court. But usually it's in divorce situations, property is divided equally among both spouses. But there are some cases, for example, if the marriage has lasted for a short time, then property is not necessarily divided equally, or if you have indeed made a prenup that somehow specifies how it's so. So if you have signed a marital contract, then the division of property will be carried out in accordance to what is stated in that agreement. So another quote, find organizations that help, don't think that you are alone, and don't involve your children in the anger, hate, bitter feelings for your ex. It's not their fault. And now at the end, I'm going to give you some practical tips where to find help and support from. So for example, we have created Do a Divorce online course. There's the URL address of the course where you find information and useful links. There are also videos, for example, produced by, for example, the Ensi- ja Turvakotien Liitto. So I'm not sure what that is in English, but there are videos in there, and there are links and quotes from people who have ended up getting a divorce. So that's an online course that is a self-study, free and the open access on our website. Then there is the apuaeroon.fi site that is I think last year they published some of the information in English. So there's, like you can see from there, there's information on divorce, information about children, teenagers, places to get help from, and other information. So here again, the Apua Eroon Divorce Help, they also have a chat that you have a chance to talk to a professional trained in divorce counseling, and you don't have to register to use this chat. They also have a chat for children and teenagers. And then there is Sinuiksi that provides support and guidance in topics related to sexual orientation and gender diversity. And then Perhesuhdekeskus also, they have counseling and help and support for challenging family situations, for example, co-parenting in blended families. So they offer that help over Skype. There's professional help also in Apua Eroon. So a staff member can personally assist you with cultural differences, international custody disputes, moving abroad, and so on. And they have a chat that is open on Tuesdays from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then they also have divorce information helpline Mondays to Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And there's the divorce information helpline phone number in there. Then there is the so-called walk-in divorce counselling, the Eron ensiapu, so the divorce first aid for example, in Espoo, Helsinki, the first helpen stationen, so that's in Swedish in Helsinki, Hämeenlinna, Kerava, Vantaa, and Tampere. So those you can just walk in, you don't have to register, you don't have to give your name, you can talk to a professional in there and get help. Also, if you are a family member or someone just concerned about a person, you can also go to these walk-in divorce counseling centers, Eron ensiapu, if you need to. Then there's support for kind of mental health. So the Mental Health Finland, Mieli ry, they have a national crisis hotline that offers free phone counseling in English, Arabic, and Finnish on weekdays and weekends. There's the phone number for that. And then there's, for example, the Finnish Family Federation phone support service for parents of small children, and also Kataja Relationship Center. So Kataja Parisuhdekeskus, they also have you can book online relationship counseling, or there's a chat and phone helpline also that those are free of charge that you can contact them. I suppose I should also mention that Familia, we organize these divorce divorce living rooms or breakup divorce. So these are like meetings for people who are breaking up or divorcing. So on our website, you have information about the duo divorce living rooms as well. In cases of if there's violence or domestic violence, then Monika Naiset offers crisis help for immigrant women. Then there is Turvakoti and Ensi- ja Turvakotiliitto. And then also Miessakit and Lyömätön linja, they offer help for men in case when there's domestic violence or for example, if, and then I suppose I should also mention that Monika Naiset is, it will come to my mind soon. It's just, it escaped me. There's also help for women who feel like, or who have been aggressive or that there's been domestic violence, that they have been violent themselves. There's it will come to my mind. And then in case of abducted children, or if there's a worry that or threat of abduction, then Kaapotut Lapset ry offers support, and they also have chat and you can call them and ask for advice and help in those cases. Then I also wanted to say that in certain cases, you have a right for free legal aid. So there's the website address of them. And then Legimia also, and in cooperation with Apua Ero, they have a free helpline working from Monday to Thursday. And there's the phone number where you can ask free legal advice. I'm not exactly sure how often they have someone speaking English in there, but if you call them and there isn't someone speaking English available, then you can always, I'm sure that you can ask, like, when might you be able to talk with a person? Because I know that some of the lawyers offering support or volunteering for that phone line, that they do speak English. So then a few more quotes. I didn't get any information because I had a little experience about Finnish law, and it was scary since I was here on family-based residence permit, and I wondered if I need to leave the country or not. And then this was, we interviewed for the Duo Divorce online course, we interviewed people who had ended up, like the foreign partners of Finnish people who had ended up getting a divorce. And this is something that they shared what helped them when getting a divorce. So talking to family and friends, I needed time. My friends were amazing sources of support and strength. Having access to financial support from Kela was critical. Fisher's divorce seminar peer group, and at last, when things were quite problematic already, I found the Association of Abducted Children Finland, so Kaapatut Lapset ry, what I just mentioned. Therapy and friends, Eron ensiapu, domestic violence unit Omatila. So Eron ensiapu was this walking divorce center, so the divorce first aid. Counseling, sick leave, antidepressants 6 months, peer support group, friends, talking, hobbies, exercise, forgiveness. Life continues. Time heals. It's annoying when you're in the middle of the crisis, but it is often the case. Then the support system are not easy to find as a foreigner. Luckily, I have integrated quite well and had good support through friends. And then the last one, be loving towards myself, my kids, and my ex. And this concludes the kind of the presentation bit. There are my contact details and the address of Familia's website and also our Facebook page.
Thank you so much, Hanna. That was great. I'm going to stop the recording because there came some questions in the chat. Let me figure it out here.